Well, welcome back to Progressive Field in Cleveland, Ohio. As you can see, Bryan Price is just leaving the field talking to Jimmy Reynolds, the second base umpire for today's ball game. When the two teams came out, Brad Mills came out to deliver the Indians lineup, and Bryan Price came out to deliver the Reds lineup. And as usual, you shake hands with the umpires. Mills did shake hands with all four of the umpires. Bryan didn't, and all of a sudden he started to talk to Jimmy Reynolds. And this, of course, a holdover from last night where the Reds were miffed a little bit at Manny Gonzalez calls behind home plate. And this continued, Chris, for a good 4 or 5 minutes, back and forth, until finally Bryan Price was ejected from the game prior to the game ever starting.
You know, I'm not really sure the point that he was trying to make, or maybe the point that he thought that he would make. But eventually they got to get the game going. Jimmy Reynolds looked like he said, all right, enough of this discussion. Let's get on to play baseball. Bryan continued to try to press his point, and he's going to have to watch his ball game from the manager's office.
Yeah, and there's Manny Gonzalez, who was last night's home plate umpire. It was Reynolds who stepped right out, not Gonzalez, and confronted Price as they were going back and forth, and they engaged in a heated conversation. And about 4 minutes into that conversation, not Manny Gonzalez but Jimmy Reynolds ejected Bryan Price. So Price will be ejected from the ball game today, and Jay Bell will take over on the bench for the Reds. You saw Bryan heading to the clubhouse for the Reds. And Chris, you know, we talked to the Reds players before the game and after the game last night. They felt that the strike calls, the ball strike calls from Gonzalez behind home plate were not consistent. Not that they were different from inning to inning, and that was what started it last night, and it continued through today.
Well, they were inconsistent. There's no question about it. You can look at the game tape last night. I don't think he had one of his better games, Gonzalez, that is. But at the same time, when you lost 6 in a row, you're looking for blame everywhere you look, and sometimes it's better to look in the mirror.
And it wasn't Manny Gonzalez, but it was Jimmy Reynolds who ejected Price.